Hey home cooks, welcome back to Gregcipes. Today I'm making pork chops in an apple honey sauce. This is a pretty simple recipe that looks very fancy when it's done and tastes pretty good to boot, and I hope you like it. First thing I'm gonna do is cut up one gala apple. The next thing I'm gonna do is chop up one shallot.
You mean one shallot?
One shallot. The last thing I'm going to chop up is a couple sage leaves. So let's go ahead and stack them all up. Now we're going to pat our pork dry and season it. So I'm just going to lay 2 chops. Make sure they're nice and dry. Now I'm going to go ahead and season both sides thoroughly with salt and pepper. So the first thing we're going to do is heat up some grapeseed oil and butter in the pan. Wait for this to calm down and for all the bubbles to kind of go away, more or less. So now we're going to go ahead and put the pork in. It's been a couple minutes and the chops are nicely golden brown on one side, so I'm going to go ahead and flip them over. Alright, the pork chops are about cooked through, so I'm going to go ahead and take them off the heat and move them to a plate for now. That's what they look like on the other side. And now we can add the shallots and the apples. Whoa! You can see we got a bunch of stuff stuck to the bottom of the pan. That's very good. That's what we want. It'll make our sauce very tasty. So the apples and the shallots should release some moisture that you can actually use to scrape up some of this already, if you want to. I like to do that just to make sure that doesn't get too dark and burnt on the bottom of the pan. You can also go ahead and season these with a little bit of salt and pepper. Alright, once everything's nice and soft, we can go ahead and deglaze the pan with a little bit of white wine. I'm going to turn my vent fan on, just in case. I was a little zealous with the wine. Alright, now let's turn the heat up and let that wine reduce. Alright, the wine is almost done reducing. The volume of wine is reduced by a lot, and it's also starting to get a little bit syrupy. You can see when I drag the spoon, it leaves a space for a second. We want that to stay just a little bit longer, and then we'll say it's reduced enough. So just keep testing it like this. We want it to be almost syrupy. It's almost there. That's starting to look pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and add in a couple glugs of chicken stock. About the same amount of wine you added, and we're going to let it reduce again. We are also going to add in 2 good spoonfuls of honey. And at this point, we're also going to go ahead and add our sage. We can also season our sauce with a little bit more salt and pepper. As well as a little bit of dried thyme. Once this is reduced a good amount, we're gonna go ahead and put the pork chops back into the sauce and let it swim around in there for a minute or two. And we're also gonna pour any juices that came out of the pork back in. And we can also add in a good knob of butter. Spoon the sauce right on top. Hold on, let me grab this. And there you have it, pork chops in apple honey sauce. Alright, as always, let's take a bite. The pork is nicely cooked, the sauce is sweet and tangy, and it goes great with the meat. I really like that. I hope you made it for yourself and enjoy. And if you enjoyed this video, remember to subscribe for more Gregcipes. It's been so long. What do I say? I hope you like it.
That too!
Oh my god. Mara.